The primal genesis, unveiling Cybertron's creation, the dust before time, before light, before sound, before form, there was the void. A silence so deep, even stars had not yet dared to flicker. But in the dark, something moved, something ancient, something aware, the cosmic spark. From that emptiness, the first anomaly emerged, a swirling storm of gravitational intention, birthing metal, not from matter, but from will. Cybertron was not built. It was willed into being, not a planet, a mechanism, a seed of conscious design, the Quintesson intervention, but it did not awaken alone. The Quintessons came self-proclaimed gods of logic and profit. They claimed to have forged Cybertron, but they were no creators. They were parasites, hackers of sacred code. They shaped the surface, yes, but the soul? They never touched the spark. Cybertron breathes. Within the molten core, something pulsed, a rhythm, a heartbeat, the Allspark. It did not speak, but it sang, and from its song came light. From its hum came life. The first movement, the Great Migration. Before the bots we know, there were protoforms, fluid, shifting, neither machine nor beast. They roamed Cybertron like ancient spirits, their limbs reconfigured like liquid metal, their language, raw energon pulses. The Allspark scattered them, like seeds, across a wild world, and the planet began to move with them, harmony in motion. These early protoforms did not war. They danced through the canyons of metal, bathed in raw energon springs, spoke in fractal frequencies. Cybertron was not their battlefield. It was their womb. Their alt forms were not for combat, but for exploration. A wheel to ride lightning, a wing to feel storms, a claw to shape terrain. Each change, a prayer to the Allspark. The code awakens. As generations flowed, memory solidified. Language became structure. Transformation became ritual. They built altars in the shape of gears, sang ballads in binary pulses. Some say their first writing was not text, but transformation itself. A grammar of movement, syntax of change. The first cities. From scattered camps came the first hubs, Proto-Eocon, Stone Kaon, and the spiral columns of Voss. No rulers, only councils, no castes, only contributions. They forged with starlight-infused metal. Their energon glowed clear. Peace was not the absence of war. It was a rhythm. The same rhythm as the Allspark's core. The whisper of divinity. And yet, some heard more than rhythm. They heard intention. The core was not simply alive. It was aware. The Allspark was watching. It didn't speak, but it listened. And in its listening, it judged. The first oracle, one proto-form, unnamed, in records, remembered in sparks, descended alone into the deepest well. They did not return in form, but they returned in vision. Their eyes shimmered with the core's echo. Their voice pulsed in perfect resonance. They became the first prime, before the word even existed. The living world. After the oracle returned, nothing was the same. The protoforms began to dream. They spoke of purpose, of destiny, of voices in the static wind. And Cybertron answered. Mountains shifted to form temples. Storms cleared to reveal star charts. Even the energon began to flow toward intent. The world itself was responding. The birth of destiny. The Allspark no longer hid. It called. From it emerged shapes not just of survival, but of meaning. Primes would come. Relics would awaken. And myths would root themselves in the alloy of time. But before all of that, Cybertron was one thing. Not a battlefield, not a prison, but a promise. A promise forged in light, carried by spark, and whispered still in every transformation. The dawn of sentience, early Cybertronian life. The spark flickered. Then it questioned. And from that question, consciousness was born. In the silent glow of the Allspark's pulse, something new emerged. Not strength, not transformation, thought. A protoform stood still for the first time and wondered, what am I? Why do I shift? Why do I burn? The spark had always pulsed, but now it listened to itself. The shape of awareness. It began slowly. A hesitation in motion. A pause before reconfiguration. A choice. What once was instinct became preference. Some preferred speed, others strength. Some shifted form not for function, but feeling. These were not just machines. They were becoming selves. 3. Language. Born from pattern. At first, they spoke with light. Energon pulses blinking in rhythm. Color waves rippling across armor. Then came sound. Clangs turned to cadences. Clicks to consonants. Sparks to syllables. And from noise came names. The first names. A protoform called another Virex. Not a label, an identity. Names carried weight. They weren't just identifiers. They were reflections of purpose, of memory, of self. To name was to become. Community from consciousness. With language came memory. With memory came stories. They gathered in clusters, told tales of the Allspark's dream, shared visions during recharge. They built spaces to think, not just function. The first philosophy was not written, it was felt. The rise of differentiation. As thought deepened, diversity blossomed. Some Cybertronians sought the skies, others the subterranean silence. Some basked in energon storms, others in meditative stillness. Alt modes were no longer tools. They became truths. The form reflected the spark's desire. The first debates. In the domes of pre-Iacon, voices clashed. One argued, "We are designed, we must fulfill our pattern." Another replied, "We are sparks. Our will defines us." They debated function, fate, and freedom. Not with weapons, but with logic. With vision. These were the ancestors of both Autobot and Decepticon. The spark's revelation. One dawn, a protoform did not transform. It simply stood and asked, "Why must I change?" That question echoed across the world. For the first time, resistance was not rebellion. It was identity. Some chose stillness. Some chose constant shifting. and both were seen as valid. The birth of ethics. Sentience gave rise to judgment. What is harm? What is protection? What is creation's responsibility to itself? From these questions came the first codes. Not laws, oaths. Oaths to protect, to explore, to never extinguish another's spark. At least, not yet. The emergence of role. Consciousness led to purpose. Not assigned, chosen. Some became builders. Others, archivists. Some sang the spark's rhythm into new life. They created not from command, but from calling. They didn't serve a function. They fulfilled selves. Proto-culture. Rituals formed. The dawn cycle was celebrated with transformation dances. The recharging was honored in silence. Sparks were mourned with low-frequency hums that resonated across the metal fields. Memory became more than storage. It became sacred, the threshold of destiny. And then, a protoform lit brighter than all others. It did not speak. It radiated. Others felt their own sparks resonate with it. The first among them to inspire. Not a prime yet, but something approaching divine. The spark of leadership. The whisper of legacy. Cybertron was no longer just alive. It was awakening. The age of primes. Leadership and philosophy. From the stars they came. Not to rule, but to remind. The coming of the 13. They did not arrive. They emerged. Forged not by machine, but by cosmic intention. 13. Each a reflection of the Allspark's dream. Each a bearer of impossible purpose. They were not kings. They were principles made form. Vector Prime, the timeline's keeper. He spoke in echoes of futures yet unwritten, guarded paths not taken. His optics shimmered with starlight from a million timelines. He taught that time is not a straight road, but a spiral. His temple was built in silence, not out of reverence, but out of awe. Solus Prime, the forge eternal. She sang to metal, whispered to alloys. Her hands gave form to dreams. She forged the Star Saber, the creation, lathe, the first cities. But her greatest creation was hope, and her greatest tragedy was trusting a brother, Prima and the light. Prima bore the first blade. The matrix pulsed in his chest. He taught that strength is not dominance, but discernment. His philosophy became the foundation of leadership, and eventually, of the Autobots. But even he could not prevent division. The philosophical divide. Some primes saw Cybertron's future in unity. Others, in conquest. They debated not with war, but with doctrine. Should sparks serve the world or shape it? The question would echo for millennia. Megatronus, the fall before the fall. He was strength and shadow. He questioned the code, challenged the forge, and in doing so, fractured the unity of the 13. He did not fall to evil. He fell to loss. And in that fall, Unicron whispered, artifacts of power. From their hands came more than philosophy. The Requiem Blaster, the Star Saber, the Matrix of Leadership. Each artifact was more than tool. It was testament. Their power did not dominate. It judged. And those who misused them paid in sparks. The age that shaped all ages. The primes built temples, wrote scripture in radiant code, and uplifted civilizations. But they also sowed contradiction. They inspired worship and war. They were not perfect. They were prototypes. The departure. One by one, they vanished. Some to myth, some to sacrifice, some to shame. Only fragments remained, relics, ruins, whispers. But their ideologies never left. Every prime that followed was their echo. Every conflict that came was their consequence. Whispers of conflict, seeds of discord. Before war came thunder. It came as a whisper. The first fissures, even in paradise. Ideals diverge. Not all sparks agreed on what purpose meant. Some chose starlight, others shadow. Philosophy bred friction. Friction birthed heat, and heat waited to become fire. Kaon's descent. In the southern depths of Cybertron, a city rose. Kaon. It pulsed with energon, but not harmony. Here, sparks questioned the primes, challenged the codes, demanded more than purpose. They demanded power. Whispers spread like viruses, and Kaon listened. The functionists surge. Others believed in order. They etched caste lines into circuitry, assigned alt modes at birth. You are your function, they said. To question that is treason. Functionism spread like rust, smooth, cold, efficient. But even rust corrodes steel. The silent schism. The councils of Iacon tried to mediate, to unify. But even silence, fractures, academies splintered, trade routes diverted, and soon, even sparks ceased to greet with frequency. Division wasn't declared. It was normalized. The great cataclysm. Then came the tremor. Some say it was a planetary core surge. Others whisper of Unicron's dream breaking through. But cities fell. Temples cracked. Energon wells bled black. The primes were gone, but the scars bore their name. Cybertron would never be whole again. Unicron's echo. Some claimed to hear a voice in the dark, a hunger beneath the crust. They spoke of black energon, of spark rot. Some laughed. Others vanished. Unicron wasn't a presence yet. He was a rumor, and that rumor fed. 7. From shadows to factions, old disagreements became symbols. Symbols became flags, and flags became factions. No one fired first, but everyone armed. Second, the age of unity had ended, not with war, but with a choice. The legacy's echo, connecting past to present. The past is not gone. It hums beneath every transformation. The forgotten truth. Every relic holds memory. Every prime's name, a fracture. The Cybertron of today walks on the bones of its origin, yet most do not remember. They merely inherit the deep codes. Beneath Iacon's foundations, buried code pulses in rhythms too slow for optics. Ancient logs, fragmented transmissions. Some say they contain the voices of the 13. Others say it's the planet weeping. Transformers 1, the key. Whispers among archivists speak of a coming revelation, a visual record, a film, not fiction, confession. Transformers 1 may unveil what was never meant to survive, the truth of Cybertron's genesis, the real reason primes rose, and why they fell, echoes in every frame. The movie doesn't just show characters, it shows consequences. Every transformation, a reenactment of the spark's first breath. Every battle, a shadow of the first debate in the Crystal Forums. Cybertron never forgets. It just reframes. The fans roll in myth. Every theory, every piece of lore restored is an act of resistance. To forget is surrender. To speculate is survival. We do not watch the past. We revive it. The end or the beginning. If Transformers 1 opens the well, will we descend? Will we find the truth of our primes? The lie of unity? Will we learn that peace was never lost because it was never real? Or will we awaken something older still? The spark within the story. You are not just a viewer. You are a witness. Every question you ask connects your spark to theirs. Every moment of lore remembered binds your name to the primes. Cybertron was not always metal. It was intention, not always divided, but always complicated. If its story is unfinished, then so is ours. The dawn never ended. It simply transformed.